Hi guys. Oh, I gotta turn on my other light. Testing. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Uh, I'm behind today. I'm so behind. Yeah, this is cute. I guess that. Yeah, I'm a little bit behind in a lot of things today. So thank you. I have my knotless boho knotless boho braids. I got it done over the weekend. And my title tonight, I put Pam Bondi warns Jasmine Crockett over Elon Musk protest. And of course, we're going to talk about a whole bunch of other stuff. The judge, I just spoke to him. He's running late as usual. He'll probably be on in like 10 minutes. Because when I spoke to him, probably like 30 minutes before the show, he was at Target. And anytime he goes to Target and we have a show to do, I know he's going to be late. Even though he always says, "Oh, my house is only 5 minutes away." Thank you, Carrie. So guys, please share this video. Hit the like button. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Oh, honey, I need to be in my circle. No, no. How do I be in my circle? Oh yeah, like that. I like to start off with the circle, honey. Yeah, so I always say Jasmine Crockett is the gift that keeps on giving. She is. Where's Catalia at tonight, honey? And isn't it spring break for a lot of people, especially like for the high schoolers and college is spring break. But with high school, everybody's not on spring break at the same time. So maybe this week and then next week, another district. I don't know. But where's my favorite moderator, Catalia? And Southern Belle, honey, she just dropped me. She just dropped me. Thank you, Jive. I know a lot of big words. Thank you. Thank you, Heather. Yeah, I mean, this is the knotless boho braids, and it's high maintenance, but I wanted to do something different with the braids because it's still protective on my hair. It's a protective hairstyle, even though it's high maintenance. And I'm gonna have to go back to my hairstylist, my braiding hairstylist, and have her put it up in a bun because that's eventually what I want. So yeah, I'm glad you guys like it. I know you must think she is cute. Deal deal. Okay, yes, a lot of kids are on spring break, so I don't know. So what? So the parents got to tend to their kids or take them on vacation. Child, I can't tell you. I cannot tell you the last time I had to deal with a spring break. My kids are over 25. I think my son is 25 or 26, and my daughter is 30 or 31. And she's either going to be 31 or 32. Now, I do have four grandkids, honey, but it is Ramadan. So they are focused during Ramadan. So it's no such thing as spring break for them. But I do have to buy them their presents for Eid when when Ramadan is over. So yes, hi Lawrence. Um, did you catch? Good evening, Dana. Good evening. Did you catch the breaking news earlier? Jasmine Crockett is telling Democrats to punch back on Ted Cruz. Yes, honey, we're playing all that tonight. We are playing all of that. And you know what the problem is? She think it's cute. Jasmine Crockett thinks it's cute. She think, oh, I'm a lawyer, so I know what I'm saying. I know how to say things. I know when to say things. I know what I'm doing. But it's like, no, Miss Thing, you keep digging a grave for yourself because you know why? You have AOC and Bernie Sanders, the dream team. They are doing rallies. And people are saying, oh, is this 2028? Are they going to run for 20? No, Bernie Sanders is too old and nobody's not voting for AOC to be president of the United States. However, but Bernie Sanders and AOC is doing, they are doing these massive rallies in key states in key districts for the midterms in 2026. Yeah, the midterms are next year, right? Yes. So their focus, they have a plan. And then when you look at Jasmine Crockett, girl, what is your plan? Is it just to attack Elon Musk? She's part of this protest website organization to protest Elon Musk. And as you can see throughout the nation, Tesla's dealership are being vandalized. So now you got the DOJ saying, Miss Stain, slow it down, or we're going to come down on you. House Speaker Mike Johnson, they're thinking about censoring her. So it's like, what are you really doing? You don't have any policies. You don't have a plan. But hey, one thing about AOC, and I can't stand her, but one thing about AOC, when she gets focused, honey, she knows how to sell a narrative to poor people, to Hispanics, definitely to the immigrants and the illegals, to the middle class, and to her district. Now, her district this last year in 2024, a lot of people flipped red, and everyone in the Bronx area and Queens should be concerned, but it's still blue. However, her and Bernie Sanders teaming up, I think, honestly, that is a good strategy because you have young and old coming together. And those are only two people that are doing anything to help save the Democratic Party because it is tanking. They are calling for Chuck Schumer to resign. He said, I ain't going nowhere. I'm not going nowhere. AOC is, what it says? AOC is Francis the talking mule. They are using the women of color and they're going to turn on her like they do everyone else, i.e. Biden, Schumer, and more. And yeah, I can't stand either one of them. Yeah. So there is a clip that I do want to play, a couple of clips of Bernie and AOC. I thought I put it here. Give me a second. Because they're the platform that they are hosting these massive town halls are supposed to be 20,000, 30,000 people, Now those numbers may be conflated, but it's people coming out to the rallies and they are so-called fighting back against the oligarchs. And that is a subliminal stab towards Elon Musk. Okay, here we go. Okay.
Is there anything that you think Trump has done right?
Yeah, I think cracking down on fentanyl, making sure our borders are stronger. Look, nobody thinks illegal immigration is appropriate.
Is there anything
that
you think Trump has done right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm glad he said this, Bernie Sanders. He's saying that nobody thinks illegal immigration is appropriate. Well, if that's the case, why did President Biden, former President Biden, and VP Kamala Harris, why did they allow an open border? Now, maybe Bernie Sanders was the only one standing on that hill saying this is not a good idea. But so far, Bernie Sanders has been the only Democrat to come forth and take accountability for the illegal migrant crisis. Now, he did not come out and say, well, we lost the election mainly because of the open border, or a lot of people, turned against the Democrats or were disappointed in the Democrat Party because of the open border. No, but at least he said nobody thinks illegal immigration is appropriate. Well, a lot of people did think it was appropriate on the Democrat side, going all the way up to the Oval Office. And that is why You lost the House, you lost the Senate, and you lost the White House because y'all really did think the open borders were appropriate. And then to shell out billions of dollars for illegal migrants in sanctuary cities. And you're funding illegal migrants, giving them free health care, free housing, free food, free phones, free debit cards, free mopeds, work permits, and just overstepping the American people that need all those resources. And if you notice, sanctuary cities were located in poor neighborhoods, predominantly Black neighborhoods, predominantly Hispanic neighborhoods, all Americans. So y'all didn't care then. But at least he admitted to some portion of the Democrats' mess up. And here they go again. He says, "Thank you, Tuscan." And more than 23,000 people who came out to see me and AOC and Representative Gray Cesar. In just 5 events, we had over 86,000 join us to stand up to authoritarianism and oligarchy and stop any bill that slashes Medicaid to give billionaires even more tax breaks. Now, is the Donald Trump administration doing that? No. Are they slashing Medicaid? No. In the new funding bill that was passed, they were not slashing Medicaid. They were actually giving more money to the VAs and to other organizations. But Medicaid is not on the chopping board. So what is he talking about? Billionaires always got a tax break, no matter who was in the Oval Office. And why are they focused on oligarchy? Oligarchy are the people like the George Soros, Silicon Valley's, the billionaires that fund all Democrats and Republicans too. So both sides of the aisle eat well from oligarchy funding. I'm trying to find another clip. No, it wasn't this one. It wasn't this one. Where was that AOC clip? Okay, yeah. So this is the dream team. It says Democrats are reportedly pushing for Sanders AOC 2028 presidential. I don't believe that. I don't believe it at all. So who was supposed to be the president? AOC or Bernie Sanders? That's crazy. Because I cannot see a man 82, Trump is not even 80 yet, as a president for 4 years. We just got rid of Biden and he was ill, allegedly. And then this dingbat, she'll have all of us on welfare with food stamps. Now that stadium is packed. That's a lot of people. Now I don't know, are these people that were bribed to come, free tickets, free transportation? Because that's what they were doing during the Kamala Harris, when Kamala Harris was running for office. Let's see. I had another clip. I thought I had another clip of AOC talking. I have all these damn clips. Here we go. Let's see what she's saying.
Share with you exactly what I mean. Because when they like to call us radical, and what they like to call me as radical, I believe is common sense. I believe that when a person gets sick, they shouldn't go bankrupt in the wealthiest country in the history of the world. Common sense. I believe that a minimum wage should cover the minimum cost to live. Common sense. And by the way, we should see that not paying a living wage is also a form of corporate welfare and looting. Because big companies like Walmart and Amazon often rely on the food stamp program and public coffers to cover the wages that they won't pay. I believe that homes are not slot machines for investors and Wall Street to extort working families out of every last dollar that they have. A home is sacred. And when your landlord jacks up your rent by half overnight, or housing prices skyrocket because Wall Street treats our housing market like a casino, your government should fight for your ability to keep an affordable roof over your.
So I hear her. What she's saying is some good stuff. But you know what? She has said this before. She said it when she was running for Congress. How many years ago was that? 8 years ago? She said it when she first got into Congress, elected into the House of Representatives. And you had the White House, you had dominated Congress and the Senate. So livable minimum wage, health care, all that stuff she's talking about. Why do they make that happen during a time when the Democrats, when you had the power, when you were controlling Congress? Congress controls the purse. So when the Democrats were in control of Congress, and I believe it was the first 2 years of the Biden administration, first 2 or 3, and part of Trump administration, why didn't you do anything? Why didn't you do none of everything that she said they did not do? Now, I will give the Biden administration credit on one thing. They did wipe out a lot of the American people medical bill debt. I noticed that. But that's it. So why are you still talking those same talking points and we don't see any results? So is this a dream team, Bernie and AOC? It's a dream team to try and win back the House and the Senate for the midterms, not for the presidency. Absolutely not. All right, guys. So I see the judge. Yeah. And she's a millionaire. Girl, when you got elected, you had to go fund me so that you could have enough money to afford an apartment in DC when you went to DC starting on January 1st. Because you couldn't afford it until your new salary kicked in. But 5 years later, less than that, you become a millionaire. You want to talk about oligarchy and corruption? Hi.
Yeah, speaking of which, how much do you think congressmen get paid a year?
150.
Yeah, now how do you get to be a multimillionaire on 150 for 2 years?
Exactly.
Because you're a damn crook or you've been lying about your circumstances. Who's her husband?
She just got married. Some man, he's not a politician.
What is
I don't know.
white or black?
He's white. And
yeah.
I think he might be Jewish.
Yeah. A fine lot from a hypocrite who keeps talking super black and white supremacy. Got one in, I mean, it's okay if that's what you want to do, but watch what you're saying. You might give somebody the wrong idea. You know, you're calling these people your enemy and you got one at home. That's kind of strange, you know?
Right.
I mean, you go into bed with one, either they're all right or they're the enemy. Which are they supposed to be? So are you being a hypocrite? Oh, I like that one. Hypocritical. AOC. She isn't even 30 yet. And what's this other little witchlet? Hold on, I'm plugging in.
You said other little witchlet. AOC, I think she is 30.
Who?
AOC by now.
By now, but hell, it's kind of young. She married into money, didn't she? And
She kept that quiet. She's 35.
Who? AOC? She's been in
Yeah.
that long. She was in her 20s when she got in. She's been
I
in.
know. Yeah, so it's been over 5 years.
That's too long.
It is too long. How are you?
But then again, everybody loves their own representative. We just hate somebody else's, but we keep returning our own clowns year after year. Like we got one here in Memphis. Steve Cohen, he's head of the Black.
Oh, your phone going down.
We've got Steve Cohen here in Memphis. He's a Democrat. He's head of the Black Caucus's Reparations Committee, but he's gay, white, and Jewish.
Mm.
Yeah, ain't that something?
Right. Well,
they tried to hide that, by the way, but they publicized it quite frequently until we brought it out on this show, and I did a while back on Valerie Denise that I was doing on Friday until Soros said no more conservative blog talk radio because he bought all the stations.
mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody
talking about oligarchy. Yeah, like
I don't think anybody should be allowed to control 400 plus media stations throughout the country. There ought to be a limit.
You should not be able to monopolize the airways.
And the FCC needs to crack down on all of them. They got on Janet Jackson for flashing a little bit of boob, which wasn't much because it had that big starburst thing on. And everybody got weirded about that. But how about we deal with getting folk off of censoring ideas, not pornography, not obscenity, not indecency, but ideas. And a lot of those ideas are mainstream because we find that the typical American bought into them. That's how we got Trump elected.
Right.
But those are supposed to not be portrayed. And stuff that's on the front page of all the papers in the United States, you can't use that R word on YouTube.
I know.
Stuff like that is just obscene. That is a blasphemy when it comes to the First Amendment. Now, anyway, enough on that. Okay,
so I have a list of things that we're going to go down. And the first thing I want to talk about, because I did the monologue with the AOC and Bernie, I briefly spoke to you about this.
Fake. They need to prosecute her. Or she's been listening to Chicken George Al Sharpton. Remember, he likes to deal with presidenting all of these fake situations. So I guess she jumped in. Yeah, okay.
Right. So the Allentown, Pennsylvania employee, Letitia Brown, she's charged with a misdemeanor after placing a noose at her own desk to stage a hate crime. So I want to play this clip.
That's what's wrong with hate crimes. They're dangerous. They can be misconstrued and they can be faked so easily. Plus, it doesn't do anything.
Is to provide an update regarding the noose investigation. I want to take a moment to thank the following agencies who assisted in this case: Lehigh County District Attorney's Office, the Pennsylvania State Police Crime Lab, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The Allentown Police Department conducted a thorough investigation, including interviews of persons, analysis of evidence, and consultation with the District Attorney's Office of Lehigh County. As a result of the subsequent investigation, Letitia Brown was charged with tampering with or fabricating physical evidence, a misdemeanor of the 2nd degree, and false reports to law enforcement, a misdemeanor of the 3rd degree. As in every criminal case, the fact that a warrant has been issued or a complaint has been filed is merely an accusation. The defendant is presumed innocent until and unless proven guilty in a court of law. I'm now going to ask Captain Milkovich to provide a summation of this investigation.
Good afternoon, everybody. Captain Melkovitz, Criminal Investigations Division. On January 10, 2025, at approximately 7:11 a.m., Allentown City employee Letitia Brown arrived at her office on the third floor of City Hall. At approximately 7:38 a.m., Ms. Brown notified the Allentown Police Department that she discovered what she believed to be a noose on her desk upon arriving at work. Officers assigned to the Community Outreach Unit, Crime Scene Identification Unit, and Criminal Investigations Unit responded, initiating a criminal investigation to identify the individual responsible for placing the noose on Ms. Brown's desk. During the investigation, video surveillance and building access control records were reviewed to identify city employees present on the third floor of City Hall between the time Ms. Brown left for work on the afternoon of January 9, 2025, and her arrival on the morning of January 10th. Those employees were interviewed. Each was asked if they would provide a buccal swab for DNA testing if needed. Every employee agreed, except for Ms. Brown. Initially cooperative, Ms. Brown later requested that the investigation be discontinued. The noose was submitted to the Pennsylvania State Police Crime Lab for DNA testing on January 14, 2025. On January 24, 2025, a search warrant was approved by the Lehigh County District Attorney's Office for Ms. Brown's DNA, and a DNA sample was obtained that same day. On January 27, 2025, Ms. Brown's buccal swab was submitted to the Bethlehem Regional Crime Lab of the Pennsylvania State Police for comparison with DNA profiles recovered from the noose. On March 10, 2025, the Forensic DNA Division of the Pennsylvania State Police issued a written report indicating that Ms. Brown's DNA matched the DNA profile obtained from the swabs of both the outer surface and inner knotted portion of the noose after it was taken apart. No other person's DNA profiles found on the evidentiary items involved in this investigation. As a result of this investigation earlier today, Detective Harold Bonds of the Allentown Police Department filed charges against Letitia Brown at District Court 31-2-01 for the criminal offenses outlined earlier by Chief Roca. Thank you.
As I've said many of times before, hate crimes are poisonous, hate crimes don't do anything to stop the hate, but they do open things up to abuse. This is abuse on one end of it, and there's another end of it too, which they always come back and bite somebody in the behind a decade or so after you pass them. There's no need for them because the crimes are already criminal acts doing what's supposed to be a hate crime. Maybe for sentencing purposes, okay, an aggravator, but to make them a specific crime is just pandering to emotionalism and to foolishness. Because when you set this thing up like this, you try to control somebody's state of mind. You can't do that. You can control conduct, but not state of mind. Go away. Go.
Joseph says, Mrs. Juicy Smollett. I knew the dog was going to do that.
Okay. I'm
Purity.
back.
Purity, you should know better.
Spoiled brat. Truly. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So again, when I just saw the headline, I didn't know it was somebody black or a black woman. I just saw the headline and I wasn't going to talk about it. I'm like, oh my God, another hate crime or whatever with a noose. And then I clicked on it and saw a black woman's picture. I said, well, you look at here. Okay. Doing too much. Just doing too much. So, I want to get into this. Letitia James.
Oh, I'm going to enjoy watching her squirm when they indict her.
She has several investigations going on. So Pam Bondi is quoted saying, "It's no fun when the rabbit got the gun." Republicans call for investigation into New York Attorney General Letitia James. The latest challenge to James' authority comes from Representative Ellis Stevanik, who recently filed a formal complaint alleging that James' prosecution of Trump was politically motivated and violated ethical legal standards. Stevanik argues that James' investigation into Trump's business dealings was predetermined and unethical, claiming the Attorney General had openly campaigned on her promise to take down a former president. It has been reported that the same pattern of obscured luxury that characterized her campaign. Oh, no, I'm going ahead. But it isn't the only controversy surrounding James. Reporters are now questioning her financial transparency after recent investigations expose a troubling pattern of luxury campaign spending and questionable accounting. A deeper examination of her personal finance disclosures has raised new concerns about her property holdings and financial reportings.
Seems to be a Democratic qualification. You have to also be a con artist on the side.
Yes. So it says it has been reported that the same pattern of obscure luxury that characterized her campaign spending now emerges in her financial statements. One example, Virginia investment property she purchased in August of 2020. In her 2023 financial disclosure, James values the single-family home to $100,000 to under $150,000. Yet, mortgage records reveal that the same property carries loan totaling up to $400,000, potentially more than twice its declared value.
Accuse Trump of?
Huh?
That's one of the indictment counts against Trump.
Oh, of
in other words, he supposedly overvalued his property. She undervalued her for same kind of purpose, nefarious purposes, she alleged.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the bank said we didn't get defrauded. We did our own investigation, but who did the investigation for the people? Now she got caught. See, she got something. So she's guilty of the same criminal offenses she had Trump indicted on.
Right.
Knowingly false statements on an application form or report or return. Great. And you wonder why the crooks are acting crooked in the streets when the people that are supposed to be in charge of law and order are being crooks.
And she also
say she's innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. But I'd like to see her have to put that to test.
It says she's also under attack for defying Trump's executive order canceling sex change procedures for minors. President Trump's executive order aimed to prohibit gender transition treatments for individuals under 18, but James vowed to fight back, threatening to file discrimination charges against hospitals that refuse to provide these procedures.
Well, the point is he can't do anything criminal against her. He can just cut the funds off for the government, for the state. And she'll have to go to court, and it's likely to quickly get to the U.S. Supreme Court because it will be state against federal government, and therefore that'll advance directly to the U.S. Supreme Court. So let's put it to the test. These things need to be chopped off before they get to grow into strong, well-rooted weeds.
And it says in December 2022, GOP lawmakers demanded an inquiry into her handling of sexual harassment allegations against her former chief of staff, Ibrahim Khan. Critics argue that despite James' vocal stance on women's rights and accountability, her office downplayed the scandal, raising concerns about whether political consideration influenced her response. New York Republicans, led by Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis, called for U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland to investigate James allegedly leaking unredacted tax documents from Nikki Haley's nonprofit Stand for America. Leaked financial records later published by the media outlet led to accusation that James' office had misused confidential tax records to target political opponents. She got a lot of dirt on her.
I know it. She needs to be in jail. I mean, she's innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, but I mean, I think they need to put her to the test. Set an example. People in high places need to act right.
Also,
then there are all kinds of crazy rumors that people spread around anyway irresponsibly. So that needs to stop. But, you know, that's liable matter. Sometimes it's not worth the trouble. But this is just inexcusable. This is why we have the Bill of Rights, to prevent this from happening. And for some reason, the Democratic Party thinks it doesn't apply to anybody but their opponents.
right.
So they give a classic illustration. And I love the new term for it, lawfare.
Right. Now, Cuomo, so those are those one, two, I just named three investigations. Now, this is another one by Cuomo, the former governor of New York, because, you know, he was pushed out right after COVID. He was forced to resign. So Cuomo sues New York Comptroller Office to use taxpayer money in a lawsuit against Letitia James. Former Governor Andrew Cuomo is suing the New York State Comptroller Office to get taxpayers to pay his legal bills for yet another lawsuit Cuomo filed against the office of his political nemesis, State Attorney General Letitia James.
That's if he wins. Those are his part of his requested damages. It's appropriate.
If Cuomo were to prevail, it would raise the state's legal costs for Cuomo-related scandals above $60 million, figure released by state controller on March 10th. Cuomo wants the state to cover the cost of his legal battle to get videotapes and unredacted transcripts of interviews the Attorney General office conducted while investigating the then governor for sexual harassment.
Legal fees have gotten ridiculously expensive, and what I see being delivered isn't worth it.
Right.
But there it is.
But, you know, considering with Fannie Willis, the state of Georgia passed that law that defendants can sue for legal.
That's to end the sovereign immunity for that particular situation. I think that's appropriate. That will cut down on the lawfare, but then again, it really doesn't deter the particular office holder because they don't have to pay it. The state does. Now, one thing that needs to be watched out for is a lot of this stuff that is being alleged against Fannie is personal, so she should not be allowed to have the state handle her cost and attorney fees. She should be required to pay it out of her own pocket.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, and also
there is a deterrent factor to it, and you're not much deterred if somebody else has to pay for it.
Right. And so I think that maybe Cuomo, former governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, you know, he sees what's going on in Georgia. And sometimes people use those situations, you know, to try and push for their own status in their own state, you know, to help, I guess, get their legal bills paid.
Well, that's always been the case.
Okay.
Trying to do that, but you see, the point there has been, you can't sue the state unless they allow themselves to be sued. That's what they did down in Georgia. They said, we will waive sovereign immunity. You can sue us. You cannot sue the sovereign unless they have granted permission. Sometimes on things like, let's say, the traffic lights malfunction and there's a horrible pileup at an intersection. Well, the state has subsumed the exclusive responsibility for the traffic control. So courts have held that that kind of thing is assumption of the responsibility and waiver of immunity when you become the exclusive entity in control of something. To show you how bad it is, The city around here hired some mentally retarded people to work with the sanitation department. And in front of this elementary school, there was a huge pileup of dead leaves that were blocking the grate that went down into the sewer. So the mentally retarded folk that the city had hired decided that the way to solve this was to remove the grates. So what happened is they did this Friday afternoon, and on Monday morning, when the school children arrived, there were all of these leaves piled up, and as soon as 7 of them stepped off the bus, they fell down 15 feet, and there were multiple broken legs, but the city was held by the state and the Supreme Court to be immune because sovereign immunity dictated that. And they said you had to have given the state written, or the city written notice that this hazard occurred, and they had to have received it and not acted on it. But this was being done Friday afternoon. Event happened Monday morning. So all of these children got broken legs because of the obvious negligence, recklessness of removing these grates at a school bus stop, and the children falling straight down 15 feet because the leaves had clogged up the area that was ordinarily would have been viewed, and they just stepped straight off the bus, clunk, clunk, clunk,
But depending on the case, a state will allow you to sue.
They might. They have to grant permission. There's sovereign immunity.
And that goes for the federal government as well.
Yeah, federal government as well.
Trump also revoked Letitia James' security clearance.
Oh, did she have one? Why'd she need it?
I didn't know that. Because she works for the state of New York. I didn't know that.
I didn't know why. I don't know why she had one in the first place. That, by the way, is probably going to be an element on the conspiracy charges that are going to fall on Fannie, Bragg, Smith, Willis, and others, because there's no need for them to have the security clearance, because they have no business messing around with, involved in matters that require federal security clearances.
It says a memorandum has issued directing the heads of executive departments and agencies to revoke security clearances and access to classified information for several high-profile individuals: Anthony Blinken, Jacob Sullivan. We have Alvin Bragg, Letitia James, Hillary Clinton.
Wait a minute. Why the hell does Alvin Bragg, a state attorney, a prosecutor, have a security clearance? What for?
Well,
see, that raises a suspicion. Mm-hmm. If he has one, what kind of briefings has the Biden administration been giving him? And that says we have some secret issues here we want to keep secret. What are they? Because they indicate that there is a conspiratorial thing, and this, you can call it conspiracy theory, but I'm talking about for a criminal situation. In other words, they've been exchanging stuff, classified information in DC to get Trump, and that becomes a conspiracy. I don't care who the victim is, that's a crime.
So on this list, as you can see, Elizabeth Cheney, Kamala Harris, Joseph R. Biden Jr., yeah.
Yeah, well, Kamala, that silly witch, she doesn't need a security clearance. She couldn't keep a secret off of a pack of bubble gum.
And so
is drunk and goes out and spills it. By the way, I had some working men come up to me at lunch and said they like watching what we do on social media.
Okay.
And the positions getting taken. It was an eclectic one. It was multi-ethnic and racial. It included whites, blacks, and Hispanics. Mm-hmm. There were several groups, all happened at the same place, sequentially.
Well, just one last thing on this Letitia Bragg's thing. House Judiciary Committee legislative reforms to end lawfare by state and local prosecutors. So they had a hearing on Fannie Willis, Alvin Bragg, and probing by GOP lawmaker and Letitia James. So they had a hearing about, when you have these state DAs or attorney generals.
And when they have an agreement. See, if one of them had just gone in and gotten the grand jury to look at it and indicted Trump, okay, if they got this later on to say, hey, look, I see you return an indictment on him. What do you have? That's okay too. But what they did, according to what I think Wade has been talking about, is they all met up and said, how can we get him? And you see, when you do that, that becomes an objective and that becomes a conspiracy. In other words, a group of people agree on an objective. Even if that objective is done in a legal fashion, the fact that they have an agreement to do it becomes a felony. It is a conspiracy. For example, you have 19 merchants in an area, and they decide that they're going to drop the price on a product. No big deal. But if they say we've got a new competitor, we want to run him out of business, so we're going to agree to drop the price, then that becomes a conspiracy. And it's also antitrust as well. Mm-hmm. And that cannot be allowed. In other words, if there is an agreement to achieve an illegal objective, even if it's done in a legal fashion, it becomes criminal. Mm-hmm. That's American law on conspiracy. A lot of people go around about a conspiracy nut. Yeah, there's a difference between being a conspiracy nut and understanding what a real conspiracy is. And we're looking at it. Bragg, Lewis, Smith, the federal prosecutor, you might even bring Chu in on this, who said Biden was too senile to have a chance of getting a jury not be sympathetic to him. Bragg, you even might bring in Fox, state's attorney in Cook County, i.e. Chicago, Illinois. Mm-hmm. You got a lot of people here. So if they had an agreement, if they had meetings about how are we going to get Trump, or this is what we're going to do to get Trump, that becomes conspiracy.
Mm-hmm. Right. And when and like you said, you know, why did Alvin Braggs have security in the first place? And that was one of the questions that this committee was asking, you know, how can a state attorney, you know, district attorney, why was he on some of these federal prosecution cases when it had to do with Trump? You know, so,
yeah, what is the security clearance? What does he need one for?
Right.
If it's not, he can make that kind of determination for the state of New York. What you need one for the U.S. government for? He's got no business in there any more than me and you, unless he's got some secret status. Is he some kind of side agent for NSA, CIA, or something, or military intelligence? Right. Homeland Security. Oh.
Well, before we move on to the main topic, you know, we have to talk about our girl. She's another one. She's just the gift that keeps on giving. So the latest in the Fanny saga, multiple people sick after a white substance delivered to the Georgia office of Trump prosecutor Fannie Willis. So at least
of a new situation.
Right. So hear me out. It says 4 Fulton County courthouse employees were treated for an unknown illness after a package or letter with white powder was delivered to the office of DA Fannie Willis. 4 people complained of headaches, were taken to the hospital as a precaution, and the 3rd floor of the sprawling Fulton County courthouse complex was evacuated after the package containing a mysterious substance was opened this past Friday.
What did it analyze out to be?
Firefighters determined 30 minutes after the hazardous material response began that the powder was starch or salt and not harmful.
So now we got a bunch of weirdos with psychosomatic illnesses up there in the DA's office. Not surprising.
Right. It's like
idiot come down to tell us when I was there several months ago, and we were speaking out in, I think, what is it, Liberty Park. She objected to what we were talking about. She sent down some 22, 23-year-old employee to tell us to be quiet. Everybody laughed at her. And the interesting thing is guess who was there doing a feature on the whole thing?
Who?
BBC.
Mm.
So they caught it when Miss Idiot sent down the word to be quiet. And I said, don't you guys have free speech? Yeah. How's that evaporated? You know, that kind of thing. I imagine it was an interesting reaction. I will be interested in seeing the documentary.
Yeah, but I heard the documentary
we interviewed the lady, didn't we? We just did that. Remember the one we had on a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about when we were saying BBC was there.
Right. And she said that the documentary was out.
Yeah, we have to take a look at that.
Right. I need to find where that documentary is at. So yeah, so it was nothing. It was salt or starch. It wasn't harmful. So how did these people end up getting sick? The substance has
all faked again, like the news.
Right. So it says the substance has since been deemed safe, but the courthouse third floor was temporarily placed on lockdown after the letter and substance were found, with hazmat team arriving. However, the lockdown was lifted at 3:30, where Attorney General Fannie Willis works. Officials said letter was open around 2 p.m. It says that Slayton said he didn't know who the letter was addressed to, only that it arrived at the DA's office.
Why did they look at the envelope? You can't look at the envelope? Or did they throw that away?
When asked about a motive, he replied, "That's for the law enforcement." Dumbass. Isn't a DA law enforcement?
Starch. Are they trying? Look, the thing that was about 30 years ago was anthrax. Yeah, that's a white powder in an envelope. That stuff is legal and very dangerous. This is starch. So is this real? What's the envelope say? What's the return address, if any? Who was it addressed to? And why are all these folks, oh, I'm sick. Well, off of starch? Oh, come on now. So I'll be a little lunatic. Oh, I'm home.
It says it's not clear if anyone is investigating an incident as a potential crime. Officer Aaron Fix, a spokesperson for the Atlanta PD, referred comment back to Atlanta Fire Department. The Fulton County Sheriff's Office, which oversees courthouse security, isn't investigating. See, and we already talked about that sheriff department, the Fulton County Sheriff, in the jail and the office and LaButte. They're not even investigating this. But
I gave porn star sheriff.
Right. And if you oversee security for this courthouse, why are you not investigating who sent this false flag envelope filled with white powder, was filled with starch?
And we don't know who it was addressed to. Read the envelope.
It says the DA, the district attorney, and her staff greatly appreciate the quick and effective response by Atlanta and the Fulton County agencies to the scene to protect our colleagues and the public. The DA's office.
I bet they sent it to themselves. That sounds like another one of these fake news situations.
Because mind you, remember last week she lost the open records case.
Hold on a second. Come here. Leave that. Now go ahead.
Last week she lost the open records case. She has to pay back $56,000, and the Fulton County commissions, they had a hearing saying, we don't want to be the county. We don't want to be responsible. Send it to the state. The state has to be responsible to pay for it because we should not be on the hook to pay for her legal fees. She had a lot of stuff.
She's supposed to pay it herself. That's personal malfeasance. That's not departmental.
Well, it was her office.
No, she gave the order. And that's not the first time. That's the second time she's gone ahead and violated that. Make her pay out of her own pocket. It's not much of a deterrent if somebody else has got to pay. I say that. I mean, 15, 20 years ago, this would be, oh, wow, who am I going to get to either volunteer or I don't have to pay too much to represent me? These clowns nowadays are getting the governmental entity to pay for it. And it's not in line of duty.
Right.
That's to protect self. That's to protect her from the consequences of being a criminal lawyer, question mark, who has no concept of what the Fifth Amendment's supposed to be for. And she's supposed to be chief prosecutor for a major U.S. city. Whoa, what time is that?
So yeah, that whole fake anthrax alleged, I think they created that to change the narrative in the news.
And I wonder how many of the Atlanta papers or news outlets are picking up on that, saying, look what we got, a fake move here.
Pretending to be sick.
Over it.
Right. Pretending to be sick from starch and or salt.
Say, does the staff need mental health treatment? Are they that? I mean, you know what it suggests? Maybe that's why these far left idiots are so bent out of shape, is because they imagine stuff and it actually becomes real for them. They got cornstarch and now they're ill. Having shortness of breath and chest pains and, oh God, cornstarch is so lethal.
So let's move on to the main topic, right? Ms. Jasmine Crockett.
Coonskin. She got Davy Crockett coonskin cap. That's all that coon that went up through the roots into the weave.
All right. So Pam Bondi, and I'm gonna play.
She's got a tail, but instead of it being back here, you know, the coonskin caps used to have the raccoon tail on the back when they had Davy Crockett on Walt Disney. She's got them up front.
Honey, I was not even born when David Crockett came out.
I was. We used to watch it all the time.
Well, Pam Bondi sent her ass a warning and said, honey, you need to slow it all the way down. And before I play the Pam Bondi clip, this is where it all started, because last week, Jasmine Crockett, because she's still on her media tour.
Bitch.
She's still on her media tour, and she's basically saying her birthday, I believe, which is the end of this week, March 29th, she wants people to basically attack Elon Musk. So let me just play it.
By the way, that's criminal. That's advocating a specific event. That's inciting a riot. That is soliciting a criminal offense. That's criminal to ask for a specific somebody. And you're supposed to be in the United States House of Representatives, and you're advocating that somebody do specific physical harm to a specific individual.
Let me play it.
She should be
short, but I am truly here for very selfish reasons. Starting with, on March 29th, it's my birthday. And all I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down. Yes, keep it short, but I am truly here for very selfish reasons. Starting with, on March 29th, it's my birthday. And all I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down. Yes.
Well, taken down doesn't advocate specific criminal offense, but you listen to these sissified fools, and that would be, oh, she said to be taken down. Oh my God, that's. Oh.
But I want to play.
And by the way, she needs to be careful, because she's going to do what Maxine Wastewater does, which is she runs her mouth off, not going to and from Congress or on the floor of the House of Representatives, where she has the immunity. By the way, I'm still intrigued. What did Biden need to pardon the January 6th committee for, since they have absolute immunity for anything said on the House floor? So what were they doing otherwise? Were they conspiring? I bet they were.
So I want to play Pam Bondi's response to Jasmine Crockett.
Monday morning with President Trump's agenda.
Once again, he didn't run.
Why are you not investing?
Oh, wait a minute.
Why are you not investing into one of the
judges not under the control of
To vandalize Tesla vehicles in protest of Elon Musk and Doge, with the FBI revealing that Tesla vehicles and dealerships are being targeted with arson, gunfire, and vandalism in at least 9 states. President Trump is promising harsh penalties for these vandals, threatening to send them to jail for up to 20 years, with Attorney General Pam Bondi branding it as domestic terrorism. Joining me now, the woman herself in the Sunday Morning Futures exclusive, Attorney General of the United States, Pam Bondi. AG, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Maria. Happy Sunday.
And to you, let me start with those flights to Venezuela. What can you tell us about Judge Boasberg's ruling and whether or not the Supreme Court is going to get involved here?
Oh, the Supreme Court will violently strangled, raped, and murdered. And we are going to continue to make America safe again because that's President Trump's agenda.
Yeah, and we're going to talk with the NYPD commissioner.
Yeah, I just skipped over the migrant talk. I was going straight.
Yeah, but I want to hear that's the important.
Oh, you want to hear it? Okay, I'll go back.
What's the Supreme Court? What's she saying about it getting to the Supreme Court?
Okay.
General of the United States, Pam Bondi. AG, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Maria. Happy Sunday.
And to you. Let me start with those flights to Venezuela. What can you tell us about Judge Boasberg's ruling and whether or not the Supreme Court is going to get involved here?
Oh, the Supreme Court will get involved. This is an out-of-control judge, a federal judge trying to control our entire foreign policy, and he cannot do it. You know, he dragged us into court on a Saturday without any notice, and then he's continuing these hearings. He's trying to ask us about national security information, which he is absolutely not entitled to. We are appealing. We will be in court Monday again. We will win. We will prevail. There are 261 reasons why Americans are safer today, and that's because those people are now in an El Salvador prison. And we are going to follow the law, and we are going to protect Americans. You know, there's a reason why Biden's approval rating was plummeting because of the border. There's a reason why the current Democrats' approval rating is at 29%. People want to be safe. This is President Trump's agenda to keep Americans safe, Maria. It's basic public safety. Get these people.
Can you still hear it?
I can hear.
Out of our country as fast as we can. They're not immigrants. They're illegal aliens who are committing the most violent crimes you can imagine on Americans. Murder, rapes. You know, ask the parents of all of these young women who have been violently strangled, raped, and murdered. And we are going to continue to make America safe again because that's President Trump's agenda.
Yeah, and we're going to talk with the NYPD commissioner in a few minutes, Jessica Tisch, and I'm going to ask her about the migrant arrests being down and whether or not it's a complete, impact from the president taking these people out of the city. Does this mean, though, that we've stopped shipping people out of the country as we await for resolution here from the Judge Boasberg ruling?
Well, we're continuing with the legal process, but we're also continuing to arrest people. We're not going to stop arresting these violent criminals. You know, the Alien Enemies Act applies today really more than ever. You know, old law is often the best law if you think about how the laws that have been on the books for a very long time. We are in modern day warfare. They have invaded our country, TDA, Tren de Agua. They are organized. They have a command structure. They are sending money to each other throughout the country and out of the country back to support their terrorist actions. It's modern day warfare, and we are going to continue to fight that and protect American citizens every single step of the way.
The last time we spoke, AG, you said in the next year, in a couple of years, we will not have what's called a sanctuary city. Are you getting resistance from these cities who say, no, we are a sanctuary for illegals?
Well, sure we are, and we're going to continue to pull their funding. We're going to continue to sue them, and they're going to come around. They're going to have to, because the federal government is going to step in and do the jobs of these cities and states who are refusing to protect their own citizens. I truly cannot comprehend how these states, how these governors want to protect criminals over the rights of their own citizens. These are violent criminals. Crime was through the roof. And now with Donald Trump, it's going to plummet because we're going to get them off the streets if the state governments aren't. So yes, we're going to continue to fight that every step of the way. We will win.
What about these vandals on Tesla vehicles and dealerships? Give us the consequences there. And what are you learning once they're arrested? Why are they doing this?
Well, you know, we're looking at so much on this. There have been 3 federal charges so far, and I say so far. We are looking at all of these cases across the country. We have a dedicated task force. These are not isolated incidents, as you know, and these aren't vandals. These are Molotov cocktails. You know, that could be a weapon of mass destruction that they're throwing in Tesla dealerships, that they're lighting these Tesla charging stations on fire that are in residential neighborhoods. I mean, it could cause tremendous damages. And people need to know that 3 people in custody right now, they will receive severe and swift consequences, and they are facing up to 20 years in prison. We are not negotiating these. We are not coming off these charges. We are looking at everything, especially if this is a concerted effort. This is domestic terrorism. And Maria, now you have this Congresswoman Crockett who is calling for attacks on Elon Musk on her birthday. Let's take him out on my birthday, she says. Yet she turns and says, oh, I'm not calling for violence. Well, she is an elected public official. And so she needs to tread very carefully because nothing will happen to Elon Musk. And we're going to fight to protect all of the Tesla owners throughout this country, and it's this basic safety. Once again, domestic terrorism is going to come to a stop in our country.
Well, it's just extraordinary to me that you've got this resistance coming back. We saw the resistance in President Trump's first term, but then after that massive win in November where he won the popular vote in all the swing states, and yet now the judicial part of the branches are getting involved. Are you surprised by these judges, not just Boasberg, we've got 3 others complaining about no men in women's sports and the Doge cuts? Broadly speaking, give us a sense of how you're looking at all of this resistance.
Oh, broadly speaking, we are fighting back every step of the way. We are in court every day fighting against these activist judges. We're not going to stop. Many of them should be recused from these cases. They will be recused from these cases. We're appealing them. Look at Chuckin. Look at Judge Chuckin with the EPA trying to control our money. Judge Chang trying to control the money of the U.S. aid. Judge Reyes, look what she did to Pete Hegseth. She made personal attacks in court about Pete Hegseth, and she's trying to control military readiness. You can't do this. And then, of course, Boasberg trying to control our foreign policy. These judges are out of control. We are going to fight back, and we are going to win. And the Supreme Court will be ready to hear these cases. You know, again, these are federal district judges who are trying to control our nation's agenda. And yes, President Trump won the popular vote by an overwhelming majority. He won the Electoral College, and the people of America want change. And these judges they are losing, and they realize that, and we are going to win.
Hey, AJ, are we going to hear?
Let me stop everything there. See, one of the problems is this is a totally wrong way to approach this. She's making some accusations. And the fact of the matter is the people, let's start with the deportation. They have not been convicted in the United States of these offenses. Allegedly, they've been convicted elsewhere, or they have been accused elsewhere of these offenses. When you are subject to American law or to the jurisdiction of the United States where American law applies, so does due process of law. You're innocent until you're proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. They are approaching this the wrong way entirely. If they had just said these people have violated our borders, They are not here legally, and they can't run across the border and claim our protection without establishing that they're entitled to asylum or they have a refugee status. They did not go through our process. So what happens is they just came across the border, which can be elastic under the law. And it's like they ran into a rubber band, and before they broke the rubber band retracted. So they haven't legally entered the country to claim these rights. If they're just saying they violated the border, they have no business being here. We're sending them back. When they start saying we're sending them back because of the specifics of that they allegedly committed, then you start running into a due process thing. The other thing is, let's be clear, what they're complaining about is what we call Article 3 judges. The only court that's formed under the Constitution is the U.S. Supreme Court. Article 3 says Congress has the authority to create such lesser courts as may be necessary. That's what you're talking about. Talking about district trial courts where issues are put to the test, facts are determined, findings are had, and the issues are established. Then you have the District Court of Appeals, which either has a 3-member panel, a 9-member panel, or where they have a supersized District Court of Appeals like the Ninth Circuit. You may have 11 justices on the panel. Then it goes to the U.S. Supreme Court. That's the vet cases, because there's no way the United States Supreme Court can hear all of these cases that involve 360, now 410 million people, since we allegedly let in the 50-some million illegals. And that is the problem. You have to vet them. Now, this is a little hypocritical, and it's my job to call them as I see them. I'm a Second Amendment fanatic. In other words, I support it strongly for a whole lot of reasons. Now, I applauded, and so did a lot of other conservative Second Amendment supporters, when a certain district court judge in Texas, a federal judge, gave the Biden administration and ATF their comeuppance for trying to come up with a contrived ban on braces for pistols. It was set up so that handicapped veterans would be able to exercise the Second Amendment effectively. That stopped everything. Some of the things we've celebrated in terms of wise and prudent Second Amendment rulings by district courts have been upheld by circuit courts and eventually by the U.S. Supreme Court. So the sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander. We can't sit here and take this approach and say what we approved of when it's in our favor can't be done for the other side. It just goes both ways. There's a different way of approaching it. And if I can be indulged to give a little sample, it's like when you are directly examining a witness you called, you can't say, you went to the store on Friday the 13th, didn't you? You can't say that. Objection, Your Honor, leading question, sustained, because it's a leading question. It leads the person to an answer. You want to get the testimony from the witness, the evidence from the witness, not from the lawyer who calls the witness. So what you have to do is, do you or do you not recall events on Friday the 13th of such and such month? That's asking an either or do you not? That gives you a choice. It's not suggestive of an answer. That's okay. So what she's doing is a classic screw up, and it's probably due to her age, where you just reflexively don't do this, where you paint yourself into a corner and have to get out without ruining the paint job.
So what are your thoughts?
Effectively done.
What are your thoughts on what she said about Jasmine Crockett? Because I do want to
completely right, but she's doing another thing too. She's making a conclusion of fact rather than an allegation. The allegation is One, she has not talked about when she says sanctuary city, it's Title 8, Section 1324 et seq. It's a specific set of laws on the subject. Does she cite that? No. She goes round and round and round making some nebulous accusations. She didn't need to do that. All she had to do was say, these people who are setting up sanctuary cities are in specific violation.
No, but that's not what she's talking about.
No, she did. She said sanctuary cities.
No, but not pertaining to Jasmine Crockett.
No, I know, but I forget Jasmine Crockett. I'll get to her. No, I mean, she said something more serious.
Oh, the judges talking about the.
No, I remember she talked about the mayors and the sanctuary cities. She got asked that specific question. She went around the bush, and ordinarily she's very sure, very well poised about it, and she's specific, cuts to the chase. This time she just talked nonsense. I was not impressed. She has a specific law. It's Chapter 8, Title 8, Section 1324. All she had to do was, we're going to apply that series of laws to ending sanctuary cities. Now this thing with Jasmine Crockett, she goes all off on, we're going to protect these people and so on. So all she's got to do is, there's some specific laws on this, which are, these people are advocating a specific set of acts, and it's called incitement to riot or incitement.
So you're saying that instead of her going around a mulberry bush, she just get straight to
straight to the damn point, because it sounds ridiculous. Because what happens is, her problem, if she approached this mess, I see what the judge's justification is. She's setting up an ideal due process argument for the defense. She's saying what all these people did, and there's no proof in there. All right, the one thing she does not have to prove is, well, it's easier to prove, is these people have no passports, no visas. They got in here illegally. Do you have a passport? Do you have a visa? No. All right. You didn't. What portal did you come through to get in this country? You didn't. You're here illegally. We can automatically deport you because the border is sacrosanct. That keeps an invasion from happening. So they don't have to go through all of this rigmarole. They just can do this straight up. But she didn't posit it that.
I guess he'll come right back.
Through the front door, you can do through the back door, or vice versa. It's an artful thing in the law.
All right, so pause right there for a second, because I don't even think you realize you went out and then you came back. I need to swing.
I heard everything she said.
No. You just dropped off the screen, and
I know I dropped off the screen. I had to blow my nose, but I was listening.
No, I'm not talking about when I was playing it. I'm talking about when you were talking just now.
Oh, I didn't realize it went off.
That's what I'm saying. It drops you down and then it pops you back in. But anyway, I need to swing this conversation back to the Jasmine.
Well, Jasmine Crockett is just a lightweight.
No, stop.
She's done what Maxine Waters did. She put her butt in a situation where.
Let me play Jasmine Crockett response, because that is the main topic.
Go ahead.
Yeah, let me play it.
You, my friend. And I'm going to say, I was looking at you on the monitor while you were listening to Pam Bondi. You seem to be not fazed at all. The Attorney General there, though, is telling you to tread carefully. I'm curious your response, and have some of these protests at Tesla dealerships gone too far?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to say that I participated in a Tesla takedown. That is the name of the website. And it was all about this large protest that they're calling for. And this is a nonviolent protest that they're calling for. And in fact, when I was on there, which is why the Attorney General had to say that I wasn't calling for violence, and it's ridiculous that I even have to say something like that. But because they are trying to twist our words, one of the things that I told people to do is make sure you are adhering to the laws in your area, make sure you know what it looks like to protest and to be able to raise your voices and to exercise your constitutional right to free speech. And what we see is that they want to dull our free speech rights. They want to make sure that those that are participating in the press, because we saw that there have been recent attacks specifically on this news organization, they want y'all to kind of tamp down what you say and hopefully buy into the lies instead of going out there and just telling the truth. And so, yeah, I'm excited to see that Elon Musk, that his money as it relates to Tesla, well, Tesla's tanking right now, and I'm okay with that. So just in case the slow people listening decide to clip this up later, I just want to say that I have never promoted violence whatsoever, yet I've also never made excuse for those violent actors such as the ones on January 6th. So Pam Bondi, if you have an issue with terrorism, maybe you should talk to your boss about locking back up those guys that he let out that participated in January 6th.
You know what? She just did the same thing she's accusing Trump of. She did more than what Trump did. Trump did not advocate any of the above. He didn't say anything about protesting at all. He just expressed an opinion and told everybody to be peaceful. She is inciting. The cases that are interesting are those cases that deal with H. Brown when they charged him back in the late 60s with inciting riots, etc., and public disturbances. That's what she is being part of. The thing that is bad is she is a congresswoman, and well, not a congresswoman, she is a representative in Congress. And what's going on is
Why not make her a congresswoman?
it's just inappropriate. She's doing what she was accusing Trump of.
Yeah. So she says she is a part of Take Elon Down.
Yeah, but that's all Trump was doing. But remember, Trump was supposed to be indicted. And there's the investigation of the January 6th committee. All of it's all the same. See, all of this hypocrisy about violating free speech is ridiculous because it's just like hate crime. It comes back and bites you on the butt right after you get through passing it because there are consequences.
So now, I guess this is going to be a back and forth between the two because here's Pam Bondi again speaking on Jasmine Crockett's recent comment.
You know, people don't learn. She's using her public persona, her public platform to increase her followers, to increase her significance, and she is threatening lives, safety. You know, when she did this at Tesla, Sean, people's lives are in danger. This is America. We're in a free country. And she's yet encouraging this violence in our country. Think of all the lives that could have been jeopardized in Texas just today by her words and what she's done. But she didn't stop with that. She continued on with Senator Cruz. She has to apologize immediately and denounce the violence.
Okay.
What's going to happen is one of the outraged citizens whose Tesla has been violated is going to shoot one of these fools. And then there's going to be a real uproar. And that's what's going to go down. So she's taking the little cupcakes and taking them to, you know, go out there and mess with the hawks and the eagles and the panthers and the tigers and go on out there, and who's going to protect them?
Well, this is her talking about Ted Cruz.
I think that you punch. I think you punch. I think you're okay with you okay with punching. You know, I think and I love Colin.
Get rid of that,
and I think towards the end he started to punch a little harder. But like, it's Ted Cruz. I mean, like, this dude has to be knocked over the head like hard, right? Like, there is no niceties with him. Like, at all. Like, you go clean off on him, right? I think that you punch.
I hate idiots.
Let's talk first about this session, some of your goals. Is there anything you're trying to pass? How much of it is going on offense? How much of it is going on defense, trying to stop the Republicans?
Trying to pass, no. I should probably be a better politician and tell you, yes, we've got all this amazing legislation that I can absolutely imagine Donald Trump signing into law, and I'm just not gonna lie. I think that right now it is about preserving our basics and getting back some of the norms that make sure that people have food on the table, the norms that make sure that people aren't going through any extra layer of stress when it comes to figuring out education for their kids. So right now, I can tell you that unfortunately, I am not working towards very much that I would consider being the progress train. I am working to make sure that I can minimize the regress train right now. And I think, and I hope that my district appreciates that I am being honest with them.
Yeah, you talking about this, you sound like another hypocritical fool here. How about you getting back to education for the children instead of trying to get them to go get neutered at the veterinarians?
Right. So that,
or putting freaks in the girls' bathroom or in the girls' shower rooms, if you want to talk about education. How about hardcore math, reading, writing, that kind of thing?
yes, but judge did say she need a new wig. He said, the judge just say she needs a new wig?
She needs to get rid of that weave. It looks too fake.
Well, listen.
Those barn door eyelashes flapping away.
So they are vandalizing Tesla dealerships and the cars. And if you, as a sitting congresswoman in the House of Representatives, you're part of an organization, take Elon down. Well, you don't know the crazies that's part of that movement that are actually doing these crimes. So
well, we'll just take the same exact things they said about Trump. They apply more so to this fool. So, I mean, it sounds really weird. But of course, it seems that nobody listens to both sides of the argument and compares what they're listening to. Hey, this sounds just like that. If they say this is supposed to be illegal, and they put all these people in jail for doing just what you're telling this other group of people to do. Whoa. Mm-hmm. What kind of politics is this? Sounds like Ach over Deutschland, yeah?
Well, real quick, speaking of the Trump administration, a significant security breach occurred within the Trump administration where sensitive military operation details for an upcoming strike in Yemen were accidentally shared via a Signal group chat with Jeffrey Goldberg, an editor from The Atlantic. Discussions included top officials like Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and showed plans concerning actions against the Houthis and concern the what? Houthis and concerns over Saudi oil facilities. The incident has sparked criticism and demands for accountability from political figures. So did you hear about this?
There was a security breach. You want to find out who did that on purpose.
Right.
That kind of thing is not done. Well, it could be done due to negligence or recklessness or just being tacky, but it sounds more like somebody did it as a security breach, and more likely than not, it was with a specific purpose of embarrassing the administration.
Well, here's Hillary Clinton, honey. You know she couldn't stay off.
Sailboat. Oh, let me wet my finger and hold it up, see which way the wind's blowing.
And she said, you have got to be kidding me, with eyeballs. The Trump administration actually accidentally text me its war plans. So this
who in the administration did it?
U.S. national security leaders, including me, in a group chat about upcoming military strikes in Yemen. I didn't think it could be real. Then the bomb started failing. So it was U.S. national security leaders. I guess Pete and whoever else is in charge of.
He's in charge. The buck stops there. Not quite. Then it goes up to Trump. But you can have heads rolling below because somebody screwed up and there's a security breach. Somebody did this on purpose. You don't hit these key folk automatically unless That prompted the revocation of the security clearance. Sometimes previous holders of these offices get briefed in case they come up with a bright idea or something happened 8, 9, 10 years ago they know about that nobody else is privy to.
Well, maybe Pete Hegseth needs to stop focus on wiping out Black military men and veterans from the DOD website and focus on
They're not doing that. That's the bureaucrats. What they're doing is wiping out DEI. They are like this whole thing about the women pilots in World War II, the Tuskegee Airmen. There was a big thing about that got wiped out with DEI, but it got reinstated because it has nothing to do with DEI. It's just a group, identifiable.
Only thing I'm saying here,
married.
Only thing I'm saying is the focusness that y'all have on wiping out DEI, and that's fine. You need to have that same focus, if not more, when it comes to military plans. That's all.
Well, look, the problem has been for the last 60 years, there's always been these kind of leaks. Like I was.
You know what it shows? You know what it shows me? It shows that Pete just made a rookie mistake.
Well, he didn't necessarily do it. Remember, there's a bureaucracy. A lot of people in the bureaucracy don't like the current president. They may have come in under Obama or Bush, and they may have been there for 20 some years, and they don't like an administration. I got some privy to this way back. It's been 53, 54 years. When I was still in law school, I worked another internship with the Federal Public Defender's Office. Daniel Ellsberg was with the Department of Defense, and he released what became known as the Pentagon Papers. He was a bureaucrat, and what wound up happening is the Nixon administration prosecuted him. I wound up participating in the defense team effort with the Federal Public Defender's Office in downtown Los Angeles. They got appointed to represent Ellis. So this is the same kind of thing. And Ellis, to be sure, did not have the complicity of the Nixon administration. Once they found out it was him that was doing the alleged leaks, they prosecuted him. So Hegseth did not necessarily have anything to do with this. Somebody under him did this violation. You remember the WikiLeaks thing? Mm-hmm. You have people with security clearances who are involved and they leak stuff. That does not necessarily mean that the person in charge had anything to do with it. That means the person in charge must do something to make sure it does not happen again, or as nearly as it's possible to make that determination or effort or make that preventation.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to play this clip. This is President Trump answering questions, particularly to that leak at a press conference today.
Mr. President, your reaction to the story in The Atlantic that said that some of your top cabinet officials and aides had been discussing very sensitive material through Signal and included an Atlantic reporter for that. What is your response to that?
I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of The Atlantic. To me, it's a magazine that's going out of business. I think it's not much of a magazine, but I know nothing about it. You're saying that they had what?
They were using Signal to coordinate on sensitive materials and
having to do with what? Having to do with what? What were they talking about?
With the Houthis.
The Houthis? You mean the attack on the Houthis? Right. Well, it couldn't have been very effective because the attack was very effective. I can tell you that. I don't know anything about it. You're telling me about it for the first time. Anybody?
Hey, Sean Hannity.
Honey, he be cutting them reporters short.
You should put them in their place.
Right.
They don't make things happen. They're supposed to report on it, not initiate action.
Oh, staying in the Trump administration, J.D. Vance, did you hear about that leak audio of him talking about Elon Musk? All right, I'm going to play it.
The thing that he's doing is getting criticized in the media. And
he says that he's helping, and he's not. He's making us look bad. He's making me look bad. And I'll tell you this, and he wouldn't like it if I said it, but he's not even immigrant. He is from South Africa, and he's cosplaying as this great American leader in a room that has the portraits of some of the greatest men that ever lived in this country. And he has the audacity to act like he is an elected official. I am an elected official. I am the important one in this situation, not him. So if he wants to tank the economy and his cars, maybe that's what he deserves.
I don't think that's him. I think that's AI.
Well, it doesn't make any difference. It's really, personal stuff is personal stuff. If you heard what happens behind the scenes in police departments, prosecutors' offices, defense offices, in judges' conferences, in politics, a lot of stuff said off the record. It's off the doggone record. If somebody leaks it, it's not supposed to be leaked, but people have their thoughts. So, there are people that I have been on defense teams with I couldn't stand, and they couldn't stand me, but we worked to achieve the effort of defending a client or a series of clients. You have these kind of things. So you might call the dude a jackass, talking to somebody, but you still work with them. So it doesn't make any difference.
Sometimes when you post on X and they have the what do they call it, the notes that correct you. So it is, they're saying that this is a fake audio clip. Shannon of BBC has confirmed it is fake. JD Vance responded and stated it is fake IG generated clip. And
that means it's like look.
I think that's the problem with this AI stuff.
Well, 40 years ago, nobody would have reported this, and nobody would have paid any attention to it except the idiots that looked at the last column, last page of the last section of the newspaper, which was called the gossip column.
Right.
They had two twin women, Ann Landers and her identical twin. They wrote gossip columns. Type of person. Ann Landers wasn't so gossipy. She gives advice, but that gossip column stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Landers was into the gossip column. That was it. She gave advice. Some of it was pretty screwed. If you run across it, like, wow, really?
Yeah.
But that's that tabloid National Enquirer, Globe and Star stuff.
I never asked you, and maybe I'm glad we did talk about the Obamacare last week, Thursday. And maybe this Thursday you can elaborate more on the Department of Education that Trump cut. He basically got rid of. So of course this is spring break for colleges. And this clip is going viral where this reporter, I guess it's in South
I'm reading this
or in Tampa, they're asking college students basic civic history questions and they have no damn clue. So I'm going to play the clip.
Who did the colonists fight in the Revolutionary War?
Oh, God. In the Revolutionary War?
It was, I don't know if this is right. I mean, it sounds so stupid. Was it the Spanish? Wait, what are your majors?
Business. Biology.
Okay. Elementary education. Oh. What shape is the U.S. Pentagon building?
Isn't it just a square?
How many U.S. senators are there?
6, 7. 6, 7. 2
for each state. How many amendments are in the Bill of Rights?
There's a lot. I know 17.
Who won the Civil War?
Oh, shoot. It's East or West, right?
Well, it's the Civil War, so it's the civilians versus whoever was in power. How many justices are on the Supreme Court?
Justices? Mm-hmm. So, like when you say that, like you mean like the FBI?
Who was on the $100 bill?
Oh, I know.
Abraham Lincoln?
Nope.
Abraham Lincoln.
Come on, bro.
That's the First Amendment. What's the second?
Right to vote?
Name 3 states that border Canada. We're just do 1 per person.
Asia.
I didn't know Canada had a border. Who did the
You see why we're going to hell. They are that stupid and that ignorant, both. You have to be not only ignorant, lacking knowledge, you have to be stupid to have these obvious things that you don't even pay attention to, you aren't interested in. Like, you didn't know there was a border between the United States and Canada?
And he said Asia.
Yeah, I know. You don't know who was involved in the U.S. Civil War?
East or west.
God, you don't know.
What is the shape of the Pentagon?
Oh, God.
It's the shape of a Pentagon.
And wait a minute. You don't know who was in the Revolutionary War. You don't know what 1776 and the 4th of July are about. How damn bloody stupid can you be? And then one of them wants to be an elementary school teacher. Do you see how these children are so stupidly ignorant these days?
Yeah.
That is such an indictment of whoever has been in charge now. That's just ridiculous.
But that's what I'm saying. I think that
that is frightfully ridiculous.
Because so the school system, she could be an elementary school system because they're going to tell her what to teach the kids.
No, they're not.
It's going to be ditto sheets.
No, they're not. They don't even have it. They don't even teach that because it's too difficult. It might discourage a student and cause them to lack even more self-esteem. They can't do that. They have to teach them that it's okay to be a freak and got a penis and go in the girls' restroom. And they got to lock the doors so the girls have to be in there with a male pervert who just happens to be a minor.
Well, so do you think it was a good idea that he just dismantled Department of Education?
That's what the Department of Education has been responsible for. Yeah, start all over again. See, it was created in 19...
Giving it back to the states. They're giving it back to the states.
Well, yeah, but see, in 1978, when they did this for the feds, there was a drastic need because of some of the things the states did. A lot of the states were more interested in teaching a religion than the things that they ought to teach. Just like right now, they're trying to teach a secular religion, a cult known as the rainbow thing, more so than teaching fundamentals. They don't want to teach math because they've got cell phones. They don't want to teach how to write longhand because you have a cell phone. Forget the fact that you may run out of charge.
They don't want to teach in cursive anymore.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, longhand cursive. They don't want to teach that. They don't want to give homework because it's too onerous to the students. I mean, like, what are you supposed to do on your job if you're not just doing 9-to-5 labor?
Right.
You don't take anything home if you have a white collar gig. Okay, you're not supposed to deal with math because it's too onerous to memorize your mathematic tables, and you can do it on your cell phone, assuming the damn thing's working, assuming it's got charge, assuming your local utilities haven't broken down and you can't get charged up, assuming there's no national disaster. You see, state of Washington says it's unfair to minorities, so the lawyers don't have to pass a bar exam anymore. And I know how damn stupid some of the lawyers who have passed the bar are. You don't want to reduce the bar even lower. So, I mean, it's getting absolutely absurd. What are they trying to do? Deal with competence or somebody's, oh, I forgot, fantasy land. When you wish upon a star, it makes no difference who you are. Your dreams come true. Everything's going Walt Disney Fantasyland.
Well, speaking of school,
Snow White, Cinderella.
Did you want to talk about the controversy with Snow White?
I don't really care.
You know, the Snow White movie came out this past weekend. And
I'm not going to see it. I don't. Disney doesn't interest me. But the other thing is, who are the seven dwarves? What freaks do they have playing those, or are they all into this alternate thing?
I that wasn't on the list.
Possibilities for freak are endless.
That wasn't on a list to talk about tonight. So I just let's move to Memphis. This is the last thing on the agenda tonight. Because I know you had a long day. So I want to play this clip. It's 2 minutes. And it's a student.
Pay $1,793 for Medicare prescriptions that I would have paid somewhere around $38 on a group insurance plan 2 years ago. I'm disgusted. I just did that.
So I want to play this clip. This is Memphis versus Musk.
Adults in the room, have you ever wondered if it was worth it to go to school because you don't know if the Department of Education would exist when you graduate? Because I have. Adults in the room, have you ever wondered if you don't know if your childhood career would exist when you are ready to graduate from law school because the Department of Justice or the EPA may not exist?
What the hell
Because
do
I
they
have.
have to do with it?
Adults, have you ever wondered if you would have to move out of the city that you were born and raised in because the water you drink may be stolen and the air you breathe may be contaminated, all for monetary gain? Because
What about the fools you support downtown?
I love my city, and I would like to do amazing things in my city. But this is not possible if we allow oligarchs to invade and use our precious resources. This being said, I would like to ask our elected officials and adults in the room to use the power and privilege that you have to deny XAI entry into our city and protect our environment.
Oh, stupid,
Mayor,
ignorant girls. You're talking about giving
Mayor,
up
City
hundreds
Council,
of
and
thousands
Chamber
of
of
jobs
Commerce.
over the years.
I would like you
because
to also
Memphis
use your
could
power in this
become-
moment to take action and protect your constituents, especially those, such as the youth, who have no say in our electoral process.
If you talk like
And I would
that,
like to leave you
too
with one final
stupid and
thought.
ignorant to have a
All
vote.
money is not good money. So who is this tyrant's money good for? Thank you.
This is spoken by one of those idiots that we just got through listening to on spring break. This is foolishness. This is stupidity.
Let it play out. 1 second. Let it play out, Judge, please.
Well, yes, I think so. We might have just met the next city attorney, but I will say thank you.
All right.
City attorney is appointed and the damn office has already failed on its job for several reasons. I have the expertise to evaluate that. Now, let's get into the fact. This was spoken by somebody that is the same kind of ignorant that we just got through hearing from. I'm glad you played it in that order from these folk that we heard from.
I think somebody wrote that for her.
Now, yeah, I know. And look at it this way. See, the objective is Memphis is located at the distribution node for the entirety of North America, Canada, the US, and Mexico, all right? Everything's got to come through here. The idea is to transfer everything that's been going on in Silicon Valley, California, to Memphis, Tennessee, because Memphis, Tennessee is more ideally located than Silicon Valley is in California. It's got great potential. They've just got some sorry people that run stuff in Memphis with no vision, no sight. They're petty and they are personally greedy and they get little chump change, crumbs, and they miss the big picture. This could be one of the biggest, most powerful cities in the United States, but they miss the point because most of the time they're too busy trying to misapply and misappropriate public funds and steal chump change under the table. The state is coming in to take over the Board of Education for malfeasance. The fact is the children are not getting educated. They reflect, and this has got something to do with my anger about it, what we heard on this spring break thing. The teachers that they are hiring today only require 2 years of education, not 4. They start them off at $28,000 a year, which is poverty level if you just get that. So what's the point? They don't know. The reading scores are abysmally low. The math scores are abysmally low. And they are opposing somebody that's coming in trying to set up AI. Where in the hell have these kids been? They've been fooling around with cell phones, pads, tablets, computers. They're supposed to know this stuff. So they don't want to get into AI, and this is supposed to be the city where they live, where it's supposed to be first and foremost on the cutting edge. And they don't like Musk politics, so they want to throw him out, and he's just about to complete a 85,000 square foot factory to build the most advanced computers in the world and come up with fellowships and scholarships, grants and aids for STEM, for high school graduates to go to local colleges and universities, for local students who completed college to go to grad school, and these fools want to cut it out to bring in billions of dollars a year in revenue, and these fools want to cut it out. Who has been informing these idiots? They're young idiots, and they think they know everything. They need to get ready. And who wrote this foolish speech?
Yeah, I don't think it was. Again, I think it was the adults in the room. The parent wrote that for her. Now, also, I want to play this clip.
This is absurd. This is like White Station High School. Not long ago, they elected a Bigfoot boy, 285 pounds, 6'4", as homecoming queen. And he had on a green iridescent one-shoulder gown, most obscene thing. And his mama over there grinning. She's so happy her son's the homecoming queen. And they had all of these beautiful young girls on his court. And this was at the homecoming game. He should have been on the football field instead of in the gown.
So going back to Memphis and Elon Musk, right? So this Representative Justin Pearson of Memphis.
Oh, he's an idiot. I met him.
So it says Memphis, they're saying Memphis went hard at Elon Musk's supercomputer expansion at the expense of their health and well-being.
Oh, hell no.
Without their input at a town hall. So,
well, goddamn it, they're a bunch of idiot fools. And he's cut that afro off because he doesn't match up.
Wait, let me say this. They're claiming that it will the center or whatever the factory that he wants to build will contribute to air pollution.
Bullshit. What the whole deal is he's one of the people on the forefront of stopping that. Remember, Mr. Electric Car, no fossil fuel stuff. Now, what he is doing is this, that they've morphed all out of recognition, is there is wastewater that has not been treated by a sewage treatment plant, or it's not fit for drinking anyway. It's called gray water, wastewater, and he wants a permit to use it for cooling. The factory is located on President's Island. It also contains the world's largest barge unloading facility, part of that distribution thing. It also has many industries over there, and it's got an oil refinery located on the thing. He wants to use some of the same wastewater they have in order to do cooling. The Mississippi River runs on both sides of where this island is. All right. Now,
I want to play this clip.
So the point is, they've morphed this use of wastewater into he's causing pollution. Now, this clown, when you look at him and you go to followthemoney.org, you should go there and find out who's contributing to his campaigns. He has done this crazy thing where he said, well, he got elected 1,600 some odd votes. He took the seat of a brilliant woman who was in her 90s, who slipped and fell, had a blood clot. She had been in office for quite some years. She was dead, and she got 30-some thousand votes. and she won the election. But you can't have somebody dead holding a seat, right? So they had a special election. He got a total of 1,600 votes. So when the position came up again, he got 1,400 votes, and the previous occupant had gotten 30-some thousand. So, yeah, Justin, he's the one of those clowns that led the march into the state capitol, where they took over the chamber, where he led these little vanilla cupcake students who were anti-gun because they had a tranny who was mad at the school for encouraging him to turn trans. And he went back and shot the place up, and he kills 3 students and 3 faculty. So they have been trying to hide the fact that he left the manifesto talking about his grievance. So this clown with another Justin who came from San Francisco, went to Vanderbilt, couldn't make it at Vanderbilt, then he went to Tennessee State. He came out, he's been pushing this leftist agenda, this gun control crap, and they've been trying to hide the truth about what's been going on in this.
All right, I want to play this clip.
It's ridiculous.
We are Memphians. This is our city, and this is our time to speak up and to stand up for clean air and clean water and clean soil for each and every one of us. My folks been in Westwood for a century, and they ain't going nowhere.
Oh, shut
Tell
up.
me to move to East Memphis or Collierville to breathe clean air.
Jakes, or are you trying to copy?
Took me 6 minutes to get here.
King.
I understand they might be using some new technology. You know, vapes are new technology. Different than a cigarette, but still got nicotine and poison in it. You can use new technology and still be poisoning us. And too many folks looking at this project in isolation. But there are 17 toxic release inventory facilities surrounding Boxtown and Westwood and West Junction and Walker Homes. 17 of them every day. Not just using water, but polluting the air. We buried both of our grandmothers due to cancer. This ain't no game.
Okay, let's cut through the BS. He was sitting there opposing to the pipeline going through North Memphis, a pipeline. When you looked at followthemoney.org, you found that the pipeline folk had contributed heavily to him. So what is it? You take their money, but you are against them? And the other thing is he's going after Musk. You heard what that little girl had to say. They don't like Musk politics, but that has got nothing to do with business. And Musk is not trying to pollute the place. He's using water that's otherwise polluted already to use it for cooling. It's not going to make it any more contaminated than it already is. So as a matter of fact, there's some proposals to have cleaner manufacturing processes than is the typical for here. This character up in Nashville has done nothing to bring money to this local area. They got $350 million sent to Memphis, supposedly to improve stadiums. It's all going to FedEx to improve FedEx Forum and put in some skyboxes. So that is just absolutely ridiculous. That's the kind of failure of delivery. You go to Nashville, the place is prospering. It looks like a city skyline downtown. All of the new development. Memphis is getting nothing because these clowns have sold out to the bigger interest in the other part of the state. In an agreement for a little chump change in their own pockets, they've sold the locals out. So that's what it is. Millions, billions of dollars get spent down in Tunica, Mississippi at the casinos. Memphis has okayed pari-mutuel betting and casinos for the last 40-some years, but these incompetents we have representing this city up in Nashville have done nothing with it. So all of this money goes down the roadway, straight down to Tunica, bumper to bumper, 55 miles an hour, 24/7, instead of it staying in Memphis. Right across the bridge in West Memphis, Arkansas, there is a casino over there. Big time. They're getting big bucks. It could be in Memphis. These idiots aren't pushing it, and they've done nothing to take advantage of the opportunity. They've been stealing the money. We've got a problem that's so bad that the state is taking over the Board of Education due to incompetence and ineptitude, and they finally got some superintendent to do something about it. And they canned her because she held somebody to account for getting $13 million in contracts, supposedly for tutoring students who needed it, because they can't read and write and do mathematics. And they know none of these things that these idiots you heard on spring break did not know. And they fired her because she got in the way of one of their cronies getting $13 million. So the state stepped in, and now they're going to take over the whole operation because of general incompetence. It's an embarrassment. Memphis is now the 10th most dangerous city in the whole world and the most dangerous in the United States of America. Not Chicago, not Detroit, not Los Angeles, not New York, not Newark, not Philadelphia. It's Memphis, Tennessee. And the mayor just got on and did something absolutely horrendous.
Well,
just the other day.
A lot of places do have a lot of nasty pollution and chemical dumpings, and North New Jersey is one of them. And the community really isn't talking about it. And if they are, you have the powers that be that shut them down. That is a conversation that needs to be had. With that said, whatever what Elon Musk is trying to bring to Memphis, like you broke it down, I think it would be benefit to that city. Now, can it be brought to the city and not be a health hazard? Yes.
It's not using.
But I'm just saying, where is the conversation from these city officials?
They don't have any because they got money under the table. Their hands are stuck under the table.
Right. So because if you are a real politician or a real state official, the conversation should be, how can this man come in and create these jobs and opportunities, not just for the adults, but for the youth, and it won't be a health hazard or an environmental hazard? That conversation isn't being had. They just
and he's not polluting. He just wants to use already polluted water and trying to clean it up. Wastewater. He's not.
Okay, so maybe they're complaining. Wait a minute, maybe they're complaining that our water is already polluted. You're gonna make it. You're gonna make it worse.
You're making it worse. He's just using it for cooling. Now, meanwhile, the idiots here want to make this a sanctuary city. Do you know why? There is a town that's 75% black. It's called Mason. It currently has 5,200 residents. We are spending billions of dollars to run a shunt line from Memphis to Mason, which is outside of the county, to set up, guess what? The water that will be polluted, and to have a heavier sewage treatment facility, because there's going to be a factory set up with 30,000 employees. They're not going to be local hires. They've already hired half of them. Guess where? In South Korea, because it's not even an American company. It's known as Blue Oval, but it's a South Korean electronics company that they're inviting here to bring 4.5 people per employee, since they will be coming from abroad, 11,000 miles away. They will bring their families, so that will be 100-some thousand people here. And when you get through with Mickey D's, Malco's, the grocery stores, barbershops, and everything else, that's another 120,000. So they're building the city, a little township, 250,000 people, and Memphis is paying for it, and it's not even located in the Memphis Shelby County area to have a tax base. And these fools have got hands out under the table, cutting deals on construction contracts, and the city's getting sold out, and the idiots downtown Memphis are talking about a sanctuary city situation. So you can bring in foreign interest and take jobs away from Americans. And you got little idiots who are not getting educated properly, getting up speaking on stuff they're just as ignorant as those spring breakers were. And they're talking about stuff that isn't even true, and they don't like somebody's politics because they've been told they shouldn't like it.
Okay.
And by the way, that's a good illustration of why the Department of Education needs to be abolished, because that's the kind of product they're turning out.
All right. Thank you. Job for Nine Super Chat. Dana, please interview who Crockett is running against. The judge will love him. His name is Sheldon Daniels. Yeah, I actually sent him a message on X. I'll reach out to his campaign to see if he's able to come on. So I am going to inquire about him coming on a platform to be interviewed, and and see just how serious he is running against her in her district. And so thank you so much for that.
By the way, Jasmine Crockett reminds me of Super Mayor.
Oh, Tiffany Hayard. Thank you.
They look alike, don't they?
A little bit. Thank you. Tons of fun craving. Love for the judge, Joe Brown from Ireland, and Miss Dana. Shout out to Ireland. And thank you, Toss.
For Ireland, my middle name.
Let me read this.
I want to say something to Mr.
No, let me read this first. Then you can say it. Todd, thank you, says, love your hair, Dana. Thank you. Troy, if Jasmine Crockett had a husband and children, she wouldn't have time to be an evil witch.
She's got a husband.
Well, we don't see, she don't have no ring on, so maybe she hiding it. And she says she doesn't have a husband, but
she doesn't, or maybe she doesn't.
That's what she said. So maybe she got, I don't know what she got, but Dana, I like to hear.
I may be wrong. I just heard. So anyway, you
I
can't.
like to hear. All right, I like to hear Judge Joe Brown's opinion. The recent cabinet leaks, and we just talked about that. Yeah, and
that's to be.
We talked about it already. So, all right, that's it.
One little comment on the Irish thing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, she was giving a shout out from Ireland. What time is it in Ireland, honey? Are you up late? I appreciate it.
They're up real late. She probably has a morning job. By the way, the middle name is Blakeney. That's got a little Irish connection.
All right. Good show. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful night. That's it.
You know what? This place has no future for young people. And here you've got one of these young idiots out there talking about cutting that future off and bifurcating it even worse. That makes no sense.
That's your closing remarks?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we were off, but yeah.
No, we're not off. I got to play the outro. We still live. Say goodnight.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's my closing. See, this city cuts itself off repeatedly from its future. It's located where the main highway, I-40, crosses the main river, the Mississippi River. It's ideally situated for unlimited electric power generated by the hydro.
The city officials don't care because they're getting paid to look the other way.
They're not getting paid to look the other way. They're getting paid to collaborate on ruining the city.
Yes.
Nobody goes downtown. The nightlife has gone to hell. All of the
I heard that they're getting rid of Beale Street Festival.
It's too dangerous. And when they open up Beale Street's doing Saturday, you got 30, 35, 40 cop cars down there instead of patrolling the rest of the street. So they have a little tourist industry with a 4-block long radius.
I need to go though. I don't want to talk about it. All right, say goodnight. Say goodnight.
Well, anyway, I mean, it's just corruption. It's totally democratic.
Say goodnight. Good night, everybody.
Good night to everybody except the blue bit. And you know what? One little nice announcement. June, guess what's coming? Another John Wick movie.
Okay.
I like John Wick. Relieves a lot of
the
frustration.
ballerina with the woman being the lead. Okay.
Well, John Wick's in it. Keanu Reeves.
I know he is. All right. Say goodnight. We got to go. And I got to go.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.